welcome to another online weekend in Studio 45. We're so glad you guys decided to join us. We've been talking about gratitude all month long, which is letting others know you see how they've helped you. And we actually had some 4th and 5th graders help us last weekend by voting on some this or that questions, and we want to play a game this week with those questions. So if you guys are ready, we are going to have our first this or that question come up, and we want you guys to vote and see what you think that the students last weekend said. So our first one is, would you rather step on a jellyfish or kiss a lobster? So 75% said kiss a lobster. All right, let's take a look at our next question. Would you rather win a fight with a polar bear or ride a unicorn? What do you guys think the students said? .64% of you guys said ride a unicorn. All right, this is our third and final one. See if you guys can get this one right. Would you guys rather have no internet for a week or be without a phone for a week? What do you guys think? All right, 62% of you guys said be without a phone for a week. Well, thank you guys so much for playing that game with us. We're excited to tell you a Bible story out of the book of Matthew, chapter 20, so stay tuned for that.
The Bible is more than a single book. It's a collection of 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry written by dozens of different authors over thousands of years that all come together to tell one big story. It's a bigger story than you can even imagine. It's a big story about a really big God and what He did to rescue us. It shows us who we are and what we were created to do. Discover the story that shows you the character of God.
Hey guys, thank you for joining us for Studio 45 online this weekend. We're so glad you guys could catch this service. And you know, a couple weeks ago when we started this environment specifically for 4th and 5th graders, we said that one of the things that makes a studio different than a theater is in a theater you watch a movie, but in a studio you make a movie, which is why we really want to encourage you to participate. And what we mean by that is in a studio you make a movie because we want to start training you guys already as young students that church is not something you just consume. It's not something you just watch online. It's something you contribute to. So do us a favor and reach out to us. Be a part of the conversation. Reach out to us. Let us know how you're doing, how we can pray for you. Ask your parents if they could reach out to us through social media. And that goes to actual people. But the reason we want you to do that is because we want you guys to start making your movie of faith, right? We want you to start owning it and contributing to what the church is doing in the city and in our world. And we're so excited about that. Today we have an awesome story. It comes out of the book of Matthew chapter 20, and we are going to get right into it. But before we did, I hope you guys enjoyed that game we played earlier. This or that. It was pretty fun, right? This or that. When we're talking about this or that, we did some fun ones like, you know, we had, hey, would you rather step on a jellyfish or, you know, kiss a lobster? But neither one of those sounds great, but it's kind of fun to play that game of would you rather. But since we are talking about gratitude this month, gratitude is letting others know you see how they've helped you. Let's ask this question. Which of the following scenarios do you think it would be easier to be grateful in, to show gratitude to those around you? Let's take a look at some of our scenarios. Let's say you fail a test that you studied really hard for. Can you still be grateful during a day like that? Or would it be harder to be grateful when you fall at recess and skin up your knee real bad? Neither one of those sound really fun. And to be honest, I don't know which would be easier to practice the big idea of gratitude in. Let's look at the next one. How about this? You have to retake your least favorite class, okay? This is even a good one for adults. Or you have to spend a day with someone you can't stand. Maybe you think, okay, I can't even think of anyone I can't stand. Okay, well, imagine all of the traits that annoy you in one person, this mythical person you have to spend the entire day with, right? I mean, this would be hard to show gratitude. How about this one? Let's do this as the last one. You have to be quarantined or your best friend has to be quarantined. Is this hitting a little too close to home? It's like, hey, I'm fine with showing gratitude, but to be honest, I don't know that I want to have to choose which scenario, when they're this bad, to show gratitude in. I mean, after all, it's easy to be grateful when things are going your way, but when they're not going your way, and if there's ever been a year that hasn't gone our way, 2020 would be it. When things aren't going your way, it's a little bit harder to show gratitude and to be grateful. But what do we do with that? Well, like that video said a few minutes ago, your Bible's not just a book. It's actually dozens of different books written over thousands of years that all tells one story. It's really a miracle that we have it. But when we look at that in the book of Matthew chapter 20, we can hear a story that Jesus told to illustrate a point that I think will help us understand gratitude. Before we get started, though, I want to encourage you to, again, participate in this. I want you to look around the room. Look around wherever you're watching. Maybe you're watching at home. Maybe you're watching at a friend's house. Maybe you're watching in the car. If so, it might be a little bit harder for you to do this. But I want you to just look around and see if there's anything that needs to be done. Okay? If you're at home, maybe there's some dishes in the sink. Maybe there's a basket of laundry on the couch. Okay, but find those things. Find something that you can do. And whether you're watching on TV or maybe you're watching on a mobile device or a tablet, take it where you can listen to my voice and listen to our actors who are going to help act out our story. You can listen to it while at the same time doing whatever task you need to, washing the dishes or folding the laundry or whatever, okay? You got it? You can even pause the video if you need to and find something that you can do. Okay, you have your job that you're going to get done while I'm talking. Now, we've got some people that are going to help us. We saw them last week. They're from the So and So show. They've got some actors over there. In fact, we encourage you to check out their YouTube channel. They're pretty funny. But they're going to help us out as we tell the story out of Matthew chapter 20. Jesus compares the kingdom of heaven to something, and he does this to make a point. He says, it's like a man who owned land. He went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard.
Ha! Look at my beautiful vineyard. I wonder what time it is. It's the first thing in the morning. I should hire people to work for me today.
He agreed to give them the usual pay for a day's work. Then he sent them out.
Hey, do you want to work for me today? I'll pay you the usual pay for a day's work.
That'd be great.
Boom!
Okay, so then about 9 o'clock in the morning, he goes out again. He saw others standing in the market doing nothing.
Hey, you. If you work in my vineyard, I'll pay you what's right.
Sounds good.
And so in Jesus' story, he goes out again about noon and 3 o'clock and does the same thing. And then finally, about 5 o'clock, he goes out and he finds still others standing around. So he says, hey, why don't you come work for me? All right, now when the end of the day comes, the workers start lining up to, of course, get paid from the vineyard worker.
And here's the usual day's pay for you.
Groovy.
And here's the usual day's pay for you. And here's the usual day's pay for you. And here's the usual day's pay for you.
Cool.
I mean, now think about it. If you were the guy that got hired when the sun just was coming up, you're thinking all these other guys are getting paid a full day's wage. I am going to get a huge bonus. I've been working hard all day. But watch what happens.
Oh, man. If he's paying them that much for only working part of the day, I'm going to get a whole lot more money.
And here is the usual day's pay for you.
Yeah. Wait, what? No! This is the same amount that you paid that guy. You hired that guy at 5 o'clock. He's only been here for like an hour. I have been in that hot sun all day long. I should get way more than this.
My friend, I'm being fair to you. Did you not agree to work for the usual day's pay?
Well, I mean...
I want to give the one I hired last the same I gave you. Do I not have the right to do what I want with my own money?
Well, I mean...
Take your money and go.
Yeah, when the guy gets up to the vineyard worker pays him exactly what he agreed to, a full day's wage. But that vineyard worker, did you hear what he said? He gets so frustrated because he's thinking, hey, I've worked all day and those other guys got the same as me. But remember, this is what the owner says. He says, hey, haven't I treated you fairly? And listen to what Jesus says at the end of the story. He says, so those who are last will be first, and those who are first will be last. Now that's backward from all of our thinking, right? Let's put it in terms that you can understand. Did you find something to do while I was telling the story? Were you folding the laundry or cleaning the dishes? Imagine that someone came in and saw what you were doing and they said, "Oh my goodness, I'm so grateful to you." And then they turned to your phone and as if I could hear them, they said, "Hey, and Mr. Jesse, you must have helped a little bit too. I'm so grateful to you as well." Wouldn't you feel a little bit like cheated? I mean, after all I did was suggest it. I didn't actually do any of the work. I just suggested it, but yet you actually put in the hard work, and the same gratitude was shown to both of us. Now that would be, you would feel a little cheated. And here was Jesus' point. The vineyard workers were totally fine with a day's wage being paid that at the beginning of the day. The only thing that made them ungrateful was what happened at the end. What made them ungrateful wasn't what they had in their hands. What made them ungrateful was when they looked to see what was in their neighbor's hand. And the same is true for you, right? If your parents didn't thank me, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. You would be glad that you got thanked. But the fact that they would make a point to thank me in front of you, that might make you feel a little cheated. Like, hey, what did I do? And here's my point. My point is that, yes, things don't always go as well as we'd like to. Sometimes we have to decide the bad situations that we're in. Do we have to show gratitude? Yes, we still can show gratitude, and it might be hard. But the point is this. The point is it's a lot easier to show gratitude when our eyes are on what we have instead of starting to compare. At least it is for me. I don't know if that's true for you. And that brings us actually to today's question. So let's reveal the question for the day. Today, here's our key question. This is the thing that we want you to ask yourselves and have a conversation with it as a family. What is keeping you from being grateful? For the vineyard workers in our story, what was keeping them from being grateful was they were comparing themselves to the people that came at 5. When really they should have just been grateful for what they had. Maybe for you it's not comparison. Maybe for you what is keeping you from being grateful is looking at the bad instead of the good. To be honest, there's been a lot of things that have been hard this year. But what if you instead choose to focus on something else? Talk about this question as a family and put gratitude to work inside of you, and I'm positive that God will use it to change the world around you. Thanks for joining us.